In the modern workplace, tales of toxic bosses are all too common, but some stories stand out as particularly shocking. Employees around the world face a variety of supervisors whose behavior crosses from unprofessional to outright abusive, creating hostile and toxic work environments that leave lasting scars on their teams. From chaotic leaders like Harry the Slob to the emotionally abusive Linda the Screamer, these bosses create a pervasive sense of dread and burnout. Here, we explore the personalities and traits of some of the most notorious types of toxic bosses and their harrowing impact on employees' lives, illustrating the ways poor leadership disrupts personal well-being and organizational success. Take, for example, Harry, a manager who embodies the worst of office mismanagement. Known for his horrendous personal hygiene and a chaotic approach to management, Harry often skips essential meetings, leaves a mess in shared spaces, like failing to flush public toilets, and blames his team for missed deadlines. Employees working under him feel constantly under pressure to clean up his messes, both literal and metaphorical. Even worse, he shifts responsibility for every mishap onto his team, creating a cycle of blame and discontent that saps morale. Working under Harry feels less like employment and more like being at the mercy of a tyrant who wields chaos as a management tool, leaving employees with mounting stress and self-doubt. Then there's Linda, the Screamer, a boss infamous for weaponizing her voice to instill fear. Linda believes that yelling and berating her team is an effective means of control, but her style of management goes beyond just yelling. She uses gaslighting to make employees question their sense of reality, accusing them of things they didn't do or warping events to suit her narrative. Her abusive behavior creates an atmosphere where employees feel as though they're walking on eggshells, constantly second-guessing themselves to avoid her wrath. The cost of working under Linda is high, with employees frequently facing emotional exhaustion and heightened anxiety. Greg the Narcissist is another manager archetype that leaves a destructive impact. Greg lives for personal glory, taking credit for others' accomplishments and refusing to accept any form of constructive feedback. His constant need for affirmation means that he not only diminishes his team's contributions, but also stifles any real innovation. Under Greg, any sense of team cohesion is lost, as employees are forced to compete against each other rather than collaborate. Such environments breed mistrust and frustration, as workers realize their hard work will only serve to boost Greg's ego rather than their collective success. And then there's Susan the Ghost, whose absentee management style leaves employees to fend for themselves with minimal guidance. While at first, it may seem liberating to not have an overly involved manager, Susan's chronic absence leads to confusion and instability. Without a clear sense of direction or decision-making, projects drift, and employees end up wasting valuable time. Without the support and structure they need, employees are left feeling adrift, questioning their purpose and potential within the organization. The psychological impact of working under such toxic bosses can be devastating. Employees subjected to this kind of leadership often experience burnout, anxiety, and even clinical depression. The constant stress of a hostile work environment leaves many feeling a pervasive sense of self-doubt, questioning their abilities and worth. Over time, this toll becomes more profound, with some employees carrying the trauma of their toxic workplaces into future roles, impacting their performance and mental health long after they've left. This is more than a personal issue. Companies with toxic leaders suffer as well, facing high turnover rates, diminished morale, and a tarnished reputation. Innovative and productive work becomes rare in such environments, where employees' primary focus is often survival rather than growth. For those trapped under such management, coping mechanisms are crucial. Experts recommend documenting incidents to protect oneself and set boundaries to maintain a degree of autonomy. Seeking support from colleagues and prioritizing mental health are essential steps to mitigate the damage these managers inflict. Yet, the ultimate advice often revolves around finding an exit strategy. While managing stress and finding pockets of personal support can help, leaving a toxic workplace is often the only way to fully recover. Toxic bosses represent a pervasive problem in the corporate world, with wide-reaching implications for both employees and organizations. By shedding light on the behaviors of leaders like Harry, Linda, Greg, and Susan, we can see the ripple effect their actions have on individual well-being and company success. Documenting, setting boundaries, and eventually leaving toxic workplaces are often the best ways for employees to reclaim their sense of self-worth and well-being.